ease your boss's life. This sounds a bit weird, but how can you make your boss's life easy? Welcome back to my channel. Zuri and Agadia Karama here. You're welcome. If you're new, please subscribe, give this video a huge thumbs up, and hit the notification bell as well. Today I am sharing tips on how to stay relevant during this post-COVID period, especially if you're an employee, how to stay relevant in your boss's eyes, how to be a star in your boss's eyes, and also sharing legal tips on most questions that I've been asked regarding Ugandan law and how employees are being covered during this post-COVID-19 period. So stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. So I've had quite a number of people asking me, quite a number of clients for whom I've had to draft termination letters for employees, and many people who've been laid off, unfortunately, after this COVID-19 period, after the lockdown, and have had lots of questions. They've had lots of inquiries on if they've been terminated legally, or others who haven't been terminated are asking questions of if it's safe to go back to work, what they should expect from their employees, how they should be protected, what the laws in place say regarding protecting them, and then sharing information today on how you can be a star in front of your boss. Leave someone else. Why should they pick you over this other person, over this other employee? What is your value? I'm going to share tips on how you can show value to your boss and be a star in his eyes, his or her eyes. Okay, starting with termination. So they've been concerned about people whose contracts have been terminated during this lockdown period, and many are wondering whether this is legal, considering the contract still had a period. It still had maybe a few months or a few more weeks to go, and their employer terminated, unfortunately. So what you have to look at is basically study your contract and find out what the notice period was, because at the end of the day, an employer is not going to keep you at work if they're not able to pay you or to pay your salaries. So you have to know what your notice period was. If you had a notice period of maybe 30 days or maybe 60 days, they need to give you payment in lieu of this notice. So basically, they're going to give you either 1 month's salary or 2 months' salary, depending on what your notice period was. That's one. Or else they could give you notice and keep giving you work to do for those who are working from home. So basically, they let you know in a month in advance, but you're working and you'll get paid salary for that month for which you're working. So if your contract was terminated, you're entitled to payment in lieu of notice for the notice period that's set in your contract. Another concern or another issue I've been asked about is people who have sustained injuries while working from home, because the laws in Uganda, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, specifically provide that if someone sustains an injury while they're working, while they're at work, while they're on the job, the employer needs to take care of the medical expenses and make sure this employee is fine, safe and healthy at the end of the day. So people are wondering, if I sustain an injury while at home, am I supposed to should my employer take care of that as well? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Only if you're actually doing something related to your employment. So you're not going to tell them that you had an accident while cleaning your house and maybe you fell down and hurt your arm, or basically anything unrelated to work. But this concern specifically came from someone who is in the tailoring business. So I have a client who unfortunately had her thumb, her finger, while she was sewing up something for work. They were working on masks, really, these masks that they're distributing during COVID-19, and unfortunately, that needle pricked her finger. Like somehow she sewed her hand, so you can imagine, and she needed help with that. So she was wondering if she should talk to her bosses about it, and I encouraged her to go ahead and It so happens the boss is actually compliant and they helped her out. So if this happens and you're working in that situation, she was on her job, she was doing work for her boss, because they come to pick up these masks after maybe 2 days, they come and pick up the ones you've done after 2 days, they had someone picking them up from the different homes where these ladies work. So in that case, the employer definitely has to take care of your costs for this issue. And 2 more concerns. I'm going to discuss this concurrently. One of them is not paying salaries during the lockdown. That's one. And salaries or wages. And the second one is having people's salaries reduced by employers. That's also been common. So I'll start with salary payment. So first of all, you need to understand what a salary is and what a wage is, because many of us do not look at these things in the contracts that we are given. So if your contract is specifically stating that you earn wages, basically you're earning for the work done. You're earning for, maybe you're paid weekly, you're paid every fortnight, you might be paid, basically you might be paid daily. So that is what payment for work done. So if you're in the lockdown and you're not working, you're not going to earn any wages, and you're not going to demand those from your employer because you're home, you're not working. When it comes to salary, it's a different story, however, because salary is a fixed payment for a particular period of time, and it's usually on a monthly basis. So even if you're at home and you're not working, your employer, as long as it's not of your own fault, it's not because you don't want to work, but just the circumstances, your employer is supposed to continue giving you your salary because it's fixed in the agreement. Then back to reducing salaries. Many people have had their salaries cut down and reduced, but this is not legal. It is not legal to do it without your consent. So some people have decided to consent to it because they need their job. So if the employer suggests a reduction in salary for at least the lockdown period, or even after the lockdown period, then if you agree to it, if you consent to it, then yes. If you're not consenting to it, then you contact the nearest labor office to help you take care of this issue. But I need to warn you, this is not from a legal standpoint. You have to know that people are being let go, people are being fired after this lockdown. Many businesses are suffering. So if your employer is kindly asking you to think about this, then you should, because chances are high that you might get laid off. And in my opinion, I feel like it would be better to maintain this job or maintain this gig that you have. I've had a concern about people who are going back to work and are not being provided with a safe environment. They're not being given masks by their bosses. There's no sanitizer available at work, and all these things that really guarantee that you're safe, especially during this pandemic. So the law clearly states that your employer should give you protective wear, they should give you protective gear when you're at work. And in these circumstances, definitely masks are important. It's to protect, it's to take care of your health. So your employer should provide for this, and they should not reduce your salary. They should not reduce your salary to give you this. It's their responsibility to give you these masks. So please take note of that. If they're not, you definitely contact the nearest labor office and they'll help you take care of that, because your safety is really, really important. So thank you guys. That's it for the legal tips. Now let's get into how you're going to be a badass employee, how your boss is going to not even think of letting you go during this COVID period. Whenever the boss looks at that list of who should I let go, we're cutting down on employees, we're cutting down on costs, your name should not come close to that list. So we're getting into that next. Okay, so how you're going to be a star employee, how you're going to earn, how you're going to be retained at your job as an employee, how you're going to stay off that list of people whom they're laying off. First of all, you need to add value. The late Dr. Miles Monroe stated that add value to the world and the world will pay you to be who you are, simply. So if you're adding value, to an employee, to your employer, there is no way they'll not pay you for that. But how are you going to add value? First of all, invest in yourself, invest in your mind, invest in qualifications. People, there's nothing as important in this employment space like someone investing in their own mind, someone investing in education. So what you have to do, I'm not saying get out and go and study a master's degree or study a PhD or study all this. No. Simple qualifications, management qualifications, maybe organizational qualifications you're studying, maybe lean management, you may be studying maybe Six Sigma, you may be like all these different qualifications that are going to add value. You may add maybe a digital skill. Digital skills are really a big deal now because many employers are resorting to having people work from home. You may be studying maybe something, a professional course, something where you're going to add value. You're adding a skill that is going to be important to your employer. So if you have this while they're laying off other people and they know that you have information on lean management, you're going to help them streamline and you're going to help them keep the organization in check. You're going to help the organization reduce the amount of costs and the waste, a lot of waste in the company or in the organization. There is no reason why they shouldn't keep you. So first of all, invest in yourself, invest in qualifications, invest in education. There's lots of online courses online. There's so many. They are extremely affordable. You can look up Udemy. There's Udemy. Udemy is a website, it's a platform where there's lots of courses, lots of qualifications that are affordable, by the way. You might want to check that out. Just check online. There's lots of courses, lots of things you can do to add value to your employer. So tip number 2 is to ensure to keep your commitments, meet your deadlines. So if you tell your boss that you're going to maybe give him a report on something, give him a report, do your work in a certain period of time, make sure you do it and keep your commitments in the period that you've stated you're going to do it. Don't procrastinate. I have a video on procrastination. I'll leave a link for it right up here. You can check it out. But in the meantime, ensure you do not break this commitment. If you said you're going to do your job at a particular time and in a particular time frame, please do that. Make sure you have your work ready at that time, or even before would be better. But if you're not able to do it before, make sure you keep your commitments to your boss. Do not break them. And if he or she knows you to be that kind of person, if she knows you to be their go-to person, the person they know will do a particular job at a particular time, then there is no reason why they should be letting you go. Another tip is to ease your boss's life. This sounds a bit weird, but how can you make your boss's life easy? Basically, in the work environment, there's lots of issues. There's lots of small wrangles or lots of things that you may see are not going well, but there's no way. You don't have maybe a solution. Your boss hasn't put a solution for this problem. So as a proactive employee, you could think of a solution. Write it down in a document, maybe share it with him or her, and inform her how this solution could help to increase the productivity of the organization, how it could maybe help to cut down costs, how it could help to stop wasting time if employees are wasting time at work. So basically, you need to be this person who makes life for your employer easy. That way, you're their go-to person again. So ensure that you come up with ways. Basically, be a proactive person. Be extremely proactive. When you see an issue at work that needs to be worked on, when you see something that needs to be done, do it. Do it if you have time, or you need to create time to do it. It's really important that you do. That way, your boss will see you as a very valuable person. They'll see you as someone who is adding value to the organization. Then there is really no reason why they'll be laying you off or putting you on that ugly list that we talked about, people to be let go of. My final tip for today is to become a team player in the organization. You need to be the person who is always giving notes to the team. You need to be the person who is always willing to work with the team. You need to be the person who is not complaining about things in the organization or making sure you're building the rest of the team together. You need to be the go-to person when people are comfortable dealing with you, people are comfortable working with you. So change your attitude to a situation, to a position whereby everyone else is comfortable working with you and dealing with you, and you will definitely be a star in your boss's eyes, because no employer wants an employee who is always disgruntled, who is always complaining, who is always angry about something, about petty things, not giving solutions to these petty things. So you need to be that person who is a team player. You need to be a team player at work. So that's it for the tips today. I'll leave links down below for some of the places where you can get the online courses I was suggesting. And in the meantime, if you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to this channel. If there is something you would want me to discuss, if there's any topic you think might be important and relevant, please let me know. My next video will be tips for employers this time, not employees. So please look out for that one. It will be coming in next after this. And please give this video a big thumbs up, like it, subscribe to the channel, and share with all your friends and family. I'll be looking forward to the comments. I'll be looking forward to your suggestions, and I'll definitely be sure to work on what you're saying. So thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye bye.